Hello friends, in today's video we are going to look into delayed month end. Let me give you what I mean. Let's say we are seeing some financial data over period, and right now we are in January and this period is still open, the transactions are happening. Usually in the financial world, when even you are in January, when the month goes to the following month, let's say in February, not necessarily the period is closed, and when all the transaction been posted, then they close the period so that no transaction can be done in a backdated, and then the following month the transaction keep on happening. So the requirement here is user is looking for, if Power BI we are seeing the report by month and we just want to see until the last closed month. If the month is not closed, then we should not be seeing that month in the reports because that can be misleading. All the transactions are not posted yet. For example, we are in January. If we are in 3rd or 4th of February 2022 and January period is still open and we don't want to see February or January in our report until January is closed. Let's say on 6th of February, January period is closed. Now in our bar chart or wherever we are seeing the data, we would see January's data, but still not February's data because February is still open. We are going to make it very dynamic so that it is looking at the month and last closed period date and then work from there as a relative filtering to go back to X number of months or whatever we want to do from there. Let's look at Power BI and start creating the solution and see how we can solve for this. We have a Power BI report with the sales and simple and calendar table, and I have one month end table. What does that month end table contains? It is just as a list of dates, and this is somewhere it will be get maintained either from your backend system where the month end date is stored when the last date when the last month end is completed, or maintained somewhere else on the SharePoint list and or whatever the use case is or works for you guys. But here I'm having this month and date in the system, which is going to drive our logic on or before this date. Based on the last closing date or the month end date, we show the data before that, nothing after that, even there is a transaction in our table. One thing I did to showcase this use case of month and date, I have a parameter here which I use to filter this table. Let's say if I make it 2020 0331, and this table will have more rows. So basically trying to mimic that the month end, there are more month end dates are entered into the table, so that we can see the demo from start to end. I'm going back to again 2019 11 30. So assuming we have a data in January and February 2020 as well and December as well, which we can see in our report here. So we have a data in November, December, January and February, but since the only up to November the books are closed, we don't want to see December, January and February in our report, right? We only want to see November. When there is a month end date for December, then we will see up to December. To make it work, what solution I'm going to use is I'm going to add a column in my calendar table, going to call it month end offset. So what does that means is based on my most recent month and date in that table, I will use that as the anchor date. That will be at 0, and anything before that month will be negative value, anything after that will be positive. So 0 means this is where we are as of today, and I will show you in a second. So first we get the date, what is the most recent date in the month end table. So let's say month end date. I will have, that will be max of our month and date table. I'm going to wrap this in case there is no record in month and date. I will use call ask to get the today. Then I will assume the default today date as month and date. So that's the first thing. And the second thing what we will do is we will use this to get the offset. To do so, we will use the date difference. So between this month and date and in our calendar date, and get the difference by month, and we will see what this is going to do for us. And let's add a page, and I will enter a month, use a month column in a table view. I will bring my month and offset. And as you can see, since November 2019 is our last date in our month end table, so that is 0, and anything before November 2019 is negative, anything after that is a positive. So this is 0 will be always based on the month and date. If I change my parameter value and make December as my month and date, just to showcase that, so I make it 12/31. So my now month and date table has a December date in there as well. If we apply the changes, so this 0 will now move to December. And it should, okay, so this is what it is. So we know anything 0 and before is 0 is when the last month and date happened. So now from here it is super simple. I go to my page where my data I'm visualizing, and I will add a filter on my page, or visual, but most likely page. On month end offset, I say is less than equal to 0. And now my report, even it has a January and February data, it will still show me up to December only. And let's say we are in January, and there is the month end for January has happened. So we have now 2020, let's say 01/31 as a date. And once we apply the changes, so now we see the January as well. So basically we have now, and as the month and date table get updated, our visual doesn't matter what transaction we have in the future, but we are locked or seeing the data up to the month and date on the last month and date in our month and date table. We can have also use this as in a relative filtering. I can say if I always want to see last 6 months is greater than equal to -6 and less than equal to 0. Actually this should be 5. So I always see last 5 months including current month. So let's go change back. So change it back to maybe our books are only closed up to November. So now November is the last month, and then we go back 4 months from there or 5 months from there. So we always seeing last 6 months. If I apply the changes, so here you go, November, and then we are seeing last 5 months including current month. Now this is working fine as expected. So based on once this logic is built, as the month and date table get updated, and it will use that and then calculate the offset and find out what is my most current month is, which based on the month and date, and then relatively filter everything before that, on or before that. Most recently, the question was posted again on community forum like a couple of days ago, where a user want the complete quarter. Let's say if we have a month end up to November, that is a month, but the full quarter is not completed yet. Quarter is up to December. So in that case, user wanted to see the most completed quarter. So in this case, if we are in November books are closed, and but the quarter is not completed, so he wanted to see up to the Q3, doesn't want to see Q4 because we are in the month of November and Q4 is not completed. To make that work, it's not that straightforward as we did for the month end offset. We will create a quarter end offset similar to month end offset. Actually, I already created it. I will walk through that, and then we will use to use that in the filter is the same process as month end offset, but calculating the quarter end offset is a little bit not complicated, but need a little bit more attention. Let's look that how does the quarter end offset look like. So I'm here on, I already have the quarter end offset created. I have shown here in this page. So where you see all the quarters and also the quarter end offset. So based on current, let's actually put the month end, most recent month end date here to see what is the last month end date is in our table. And this is November 2019, as you can see. So if you look at this table, I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. If we look at this table, so based on that we are in November, we are in the fourth quarter, but since the fourth quarter is not completed, our Q3 2019 is our zero, because that's our base, and then anything before that would be. So this month offset is, I will show you what I did in there. Let's change the date. Let's say we have our December is already closed, which is 2019 12/31. And now if once we apply the changes, so my quarter offset will switch to Q4. Now this logic, what I did in quarter offset is a quarter end offset is working. So let me show you what I did in quarter end offset. It's not as straightforward as month end offset. Oops. Okay. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to go line by line here. So first, let me just free format. I like to format the measures. So first the same thing, we get the month and date, the most recent date in our month and table. And if no date is available, we're using today as the date. And then what we're doing is based on the month and date, we are getting end of quarter date from our date table. End of quarter date is just a simple let me quickly show you guys what that is. End of quarter is showing the end of quarter date of every so if we look at end of quarter, so it's showing 31st March, so it's like a end of quarter date for against each date. So let's go back, switch here, and then quarter end offset. So we are getting, okay, what is our end of quarter date based on the month end date? And then we are trying to find out what is the difference between the quarter end date and the month end date. So let's say we are in November 2019, right? And the quarter end date for November 2019 would be December 31st, 2019, right? So that is, so let's write it down. If month end date is November 2019, our quarter end date based on month end date November 2019 is December 2019, right? So that's what we are getting here, and the remaining months is giving us the difference between November and December. So in this case we will get a value of difference will be 1, right? So that's what it is going to be. And now we know that we haven't, the reason why we're doing it, that we're trying to find out that if we are in November, it means that particular quarter is not completed yet. So if this was a December, the value will be 0. So it means that quarter is completed. So we're trying to find, because one quarter has 3 months, we want to see, we could be in a October, that is the first month of the quarter, November is the second and third. So we're trying to find out whether we are in the our month and date is already in the end of quarter. And now we know whether with the 0 or 1, or depending on the where we are, we get the value. If we are basically, if we are not 0, it means we need to go back, go back 1 month. or 1 quarter, sorry. So this should be my result. So this logic is same, date difference, getting month and date and calendar date. Earlier we were using month, now we are using quarter. So it is giving us the quarters between the month and date. And then on top of that, we are adding this logic. If remaining month is equal to 0, it means we are already on the end of quarter. Then don't do anything. But if you are not at the end of the quarter, then subtract 1 out of the offset because it's a negative. We are using a sign positive here, and now that gives us the result. So that is what is now that is what is giving us this logic and making up, let's say, making up the quarter offset. Let's say we go back to more home, and then let's say we are in the first month of the quarter, which is October. Let's say we have October, which is 10th month and 31st. Okay, so it means the quarter 4 is not completed, so my offset should be Q3 2019, and as you will see, it's 0 here. Move to Q3 2019, perfectly fine. So now I created another page where I have a quarter on x-axis, and then I filtered it on where quarter end offset is less than equal to 0. So now we can see Q3 2019 is completed. And if I switch edit parameter and maybe go into a March 2020 0331, it means my quarter end is completed. And apply changes. So now I will see my Q1 2020 as well, because that's completed. Q4 is as well, and so forth, so on. I hope this video is useful. Actually, this is a very common thing where in financial world, where the period does not close and they spill over to the next month until the full period is closed. People don't want to see the reports because those can be misleading. But with the little bit of calculating with this offset column, depending on whatever your business logic is, you might have a little bit different, but this probably will give you an idea how you can solve that. And based on that, now you can use that on the filter and then create the reports the way you want it. This was an interesting video to do, especially the quarter one, and I hope I'm going to share it on Power BI community forum where the user posted this question for the completed quarter, and hope they will find it useful. Until next video, have a good day. Do subscribe my channel. Have a good weekend. Bye for now.